Hi, welcome to the Los Angeles Times live Emmy chat. I'm Lorraine Ollie, television critic, and I am here today with rapper, actor, composer, poet, and now Emmy nominee, Common.
Yes. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, sure. Welcome. Just so you know, sitting in the seat before you, I was not here, but a few minutes ago was Gordon Ramsay.
Really?
And apparently he threw a plant. So I'm not expecting you to do that.
No,
but
I'm not going to do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm pretty chill overall.
Okay, all right. No plant throwing today.
Yeah, no plant though.
So I just want to talk to you first a little bit about the Emmy nomination.
Yeah.
So we're going to add this to the 3 Grammy wins so far: the Oscars, the Golden Globes, and now an Emmy nomination. It's like blow your mind that this is all.
Yeah, it does. It does blow my mind, and sometimes when people mention it, when I even received it, the information that I got an Emmy nomination, I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
It is still one of those things. Wow, we are actually getting recognized by the Emmy Academy, by the Academy for more than anything, the work and the songs that we're doing.
Yeah.
And that's being recognized is the most rewarding thing. But I have to say, as an artist, I create art that I want to shift the paradigm and move people. Yeah. But it's great to get a nomination or
and
recognized.
What's cool about it is it's from the 13th from the Netflix documentary.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk a little bit about what it's about, but it's just cool that it's for something that has the content and the meaning that it does. So if you could just explain a little bit.
Well, yeah, Lorraine, that's what for me, like I was saying, one of the most rewarding things is because 13th is a film that's dealing with mass incarceration, which is an epidemic that this country has been dealing with since, in different forms since it started to evolve. The 13th Amendment is an amendment that says that slavery is abolished unless someone commits a crime. So, it kind of really just ties in, the film ties in how this mentality has been shaped in different eras of America to keep, people in a certain position, people of color in a certain position, and that position now with mass incarceration targeting black and brown people across America has been an epidemic that's destroying America in many ways. So for me to write a song, to be able to write a song discussing this was really, it's fulfilling. It's what I want my music and art to be, something that is part of the enlightenment and part of moving things forward. And, it eventually in turn made me go out and do more. The one thing I can say about even from being a part of Selma and doing the song Glory to now, each time I get to do these things, it's I have to do more. It makes me put things into action. Meaning
Right.
we eventually, after learning so much about the 13th and learning so much about mass incarceration, reading the new Jim Crow book, I went and visited some prisons in the state of California.
Wow.
And just listened to people who were incarcerated, found out some of the policies that we can change, that we can do something. When people complain about what's going on in America, what are we going to do? And I looked at myself and said, what am I going to do? Okay, I made this song, but I got to do more now. It's
Right.
time to be part of the action. So that's what we've lately just been doing. We have a Hope and Redemption tour going through through 4 California state prisons. We're going to do a 5th one, and then we also performing at the Capitol on August 21st.
Okay, so when on the tour, are you going in? Are you actually performing? Or are you going through at the prisons? Or
yeah, so
okay.
we've been to 4 prisons already. We went to Calipatria, we went to Ironwood. These are all California state prisons. We went to the women's prison, which is CIW, and we went to Lancaster. Initially, when we go in, we just talk to people who are incarcerated, and it's such an enlightening experience. I met some of the most humane people,
Wow.
and people that just said, man, they were saying things to me yo, Common, imagine if you were trapped in one act for the rest of your life. You did one thing
Oh, right.
that, and it just, brings a lot of perspective to me, and it makes me also see that that our prison system is not really built to rehabilitate, to like change and have people improve themselves. It's really
Right.
been based on punishment. And you know, getting to talk to these individuals, it's just different when you get to be up close with someone who has murdered people, and like you still have an understanding and compassion, and even, you know, every individual I talked to took responsibility for what they had done.
Right.
And it was like, so it was really life enhancing for me, and for everybody I was around, my band. And we actually, you know, like had these conversations, discussed some things that they felt like, because they just want to be humanized.
Right. Right.
And I think that, honestly, that's where I wrote the core of this song was like, hey, America, we black and brown people and people of color are human beings. Like, we are just like you. That's what the core of this song is. And even the film 13.
I was going to say in the film as well, right? And well, Selma too. I mean, there's the themes, you know, but I was thinking about this before. There was a time in hip hop and rap when doing positive things or putting out some sort of social message or anything like that could be a career killer. I mean, that you're talking like maybe the late 90s, some of the 2000s. You've been doing this for over 2 decades now in hip hop, making music, and you've not only survived, but you've done that kind of, you've had that thread all the way through your career, even when things were kind of anti that, they were more materialistic, and you still succeeded, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's a blessing, and I can't say I got a total explanation to it, but I do believe I just always have stuck to my truth, and I think truth does resonate with people, whether it's in a conscious form or comedy or, you know, something that when you give an honesty and you put that with, obviously it has to be some type of creativity and talent in there. And I always been working at my craft. Like, I work at my craft to be better, and like, even when, you know, conscious music wasn't popular, I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is my purpose. I can't like veer off. I'll make conscious music that's creative. I'll use different forms to make, you know, conscious music, but I'm not going to veer off making music that is there to awaken people and to bring, it's really about inspiration and putting love. And I think the one thing that in the music that people can't deny is the love that's in it. Like, even when you listen to Letter to the Free from 13th, it's talking about some of the pains, but it's also saying, hey, we have to overlook those. We have to get through those issues and deal with those issues, and then come from a place of love. But it's a strong place. Like, love is not always like, let me just bow down and be weak. You know, love has strength in it too. And I think when I write these songs, I think the love, you know, resonates, and you know, otherwise I just thank God that I'm still here creating music, and I find new places for inspiration. And one thing, like I said, is like, it's like a path you take where you get to do the conscious music, and then you get to put that conscious music with film or with a television project, and then you get that platform, and it's like, okay, what am I gonna do with this platform? Like, for me, like, winning the Academy Award was like, oh, what am I gonna do with this award? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what am I gonna do with that?
I wish I did.
I mean, but, you know, it's like, I can't just go up and just be like, okay, I just won an award, and it's just about me.
Right.
You know, it honestly created more access and more of an ability for me to do things, and I feel more responsibility to do it. So, you know, I say that to say, you know, everything we're doing now has to have some type of impact.
Right, but you know, the cool thing is too, you've still done like fun stuff. Didn't you do something in Happy Feet too?
Yeah, Happy Feet too.
Which voice were you in Happy Feet?
I was a character named Seymour, who was the father to one of the other penguins.
You were a penguin though?
I was a penguin. You know, like, you know, that's one thing we have to express, and I learned from some people who I really admire, that is conscious, and we always have to work towards bringing justice and equality and love into the atmosphere, but we gotta have fun too.
Yeah.
It's a balance to our lives that we that we have to experience, because if you go all one way, you'll drive yourself crazy.
No, you get burnout or overload or all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You watch Happy Feet, huh?
I did, yes, 1 and 2, yes.
Yeah, I love the first one a lot too.
Yeah, it was fun. So the interesting thing too is for the Emmy nominations this year, there's a couple of people that have come from like Snoop's rappers, Snoop, Chance the Rapper, I think LL Cool J.
Yeah.
Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
Well, that can,
Yeah. He comes from the.
Yeah, how amazing, right? I mean, that I was thinking about it. I'm like, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, like to be that mainstream, people were kind of like, oh, no, this is a separate thing I don't get. And now it's like, oh no, this is Emmy nominees. This is totally middle American mainstream entertainment.
Yeah, I think. First of all, it's an honor to hip hop to have like someone like LL Cool J, Chance the Rapper, Snoop. Like these are all people who mean something to the culture and have their own voice, and that's what the culture has always been about. Like people finding their voices and expressing their voices. And I think at a certain point, the world, including mainstream America, and decided and recognized that these are people that are making creative things, doing creative things, and have their own perspectives. And there's no way we can deny some of it. Some people obviously might not, you're entitled to not want to listen to certain genres of music, or it's just like, I look at it like foods. If you don't really like a certain type of food, you don't like it. But
or you can throw a plant like Gordon Ramsay. You can do that too. But
I eat plants, but I don't throw plants. You know what I mean? Right. But I'm gonna go eat that one. Is that one real?
I don't think it is. I think that's why he threw it.
Yeah. Okay, so it's like the music and the culture has been able to bring so many people together that it is great that it's accepted by the mainstream, because it's really what you want the world to be, what you want America to be, like this multicultural, multidimensional when it comes to religions, because hip hop, like from some of the 90s hip hop, it embraced different spiritual practices.
Oh yeah.
So it was all, and I think it's always been that voice, and it's really great to have that voice be on the Emmy platform and be recognized by the Emmys, and it nobody had to really change who they are, and it's great.
That's true.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and it's great to see like Childish Gambino or Donald Glover, as many people know, like
Atlanta,
the show Atlanta, which is great. See that show translate into something that's just universal, and he's bringing a lot of the culture of hip hop, because hip hop culture is really, a lot of it is just inner city life.
Yeah.
So he's bringing that too.
And just also normal, just raising your kid, dealing with your girlfriend. I mean, it's just like, that's what's so great about Atlanta, because it mixes just all that stuff together. It's like, it's not just like, look at me up on the stage or what's happening, it's regular life as well. So it's just cool that he, with humor.
And I think, first of all, I love that show. It's great.
So great.
And I really think, what I think is brilliant about it is, it goes back to what we were talking about, Lorraine, about humanity. He humanizes the inner city kid that's in Atlanta, like that really is the inner city kid from Chicago, Baltimore, whatever, because he just shows a guy that's just trying to like support his family, he's a smart kid, but make some mistakes, take care of his daughter, all those things like that any human being really can relate to. You could be in middle America and understand that, like, okay, this guy is doing that. And when you get to see a human being in that situation, it gives you more understanding and empathy, compassion, and just understanding. I think through television shows and through filmmaking and through songs is one of the ways to bring people closer to the experience, because we all unfortunately don't get to go. Like, I don't get to go to Iowa all the time and see what the people are feeling there, but I have been blessed to travel different places where I can connect with people. But some people don't get that. And like one thing I heard Brian Stevenson, the great Brian Stevenson, who I love his work, he was talking about proximity. He was saying some of the policymakers and lawmakers and people in government don't get in the proximity of the people that they're making laws for. So it's hard for you to understand. Like, that's why I went into the prisons. I went into the prisons to listen first. Before I said, like, I know what you need. It's difficult for any individual that's not like in that space to be like, okay, I know what you need. It's important. Even when I have been to communities like Ferguson or Baltimore, I always go in with open ears and open heart first.
So, and I wanted to ask you about this because you're from Chicago, right?
Yeah.
And Chicago's been in the news, you know, the topic of discussion. It was used for political leverage during the campaign, the presidential campaign. A lot of people speaking for and against Chicago who aren't from there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, how do you feel, because we were just talking before the cameras went on about you going back and visiting and sort of brings you back down to, you know, earth, or gives you kind of like a base. How do you feel about the way that your hometown's characterized or spoken about, or, you know, do you feel like some kind of responsibility to write that, or I don't know?
Oh, I truly feel a responsibility. But I first of all have to acknowledge the beauty of Chicago and the people that are beautiful, like from all walks of life. And acknowledge the people that are there doing work to try to unify the city too. There's people on grassroots levels that are doing that. Politicians, there's some politicians out there that really care. So I have to acknowledge that. And then also identify that we have identified there's an issue when you have this many deaths and murders going on in Chicago, that we do have to improve the situation. And I think, you know, some politicians, as politicians do, will exploit a situation to get to wherever they need to get to without having that sincerity. So when people do that, I never respect that. That's not respected if you're just going to exploit a situation of people in pain and kind of like just utilize that but not have the intention to really improve their situation. I don't have respect for that, but I do respect those that do care, and I'm trying to find ways. And, you know, a couple of names I mentioned is like Arnie Duncan and Kim Fox, who have dealt. Arnie Duncan was the former Secretary of Education, who is now going into the neighborhoods and taking young people who he calls quote unquote shooters, who have like basically dealt with a lot of violence and have been a part of the violence, and introducing them to programs to help improve them, trying to get them job opportunities. Kim Fox is now a government official who was raised in the projects and is now doing things in Chicago to help the, you know, when it comes to laws, she's like the district attorney. So it's like, there are people doing things within the city that I have to acknowledge, and when we speak of chance and different artists that do things for our city, and I obviously feel a responsibility. That's one thing. Going home is like, yes, I'm at home and I feel the warmth of home, but I also feel the pain of home and feel like, what can I do to improve on it? And like a lot of the solutions lie in just creating opportunities, you know. And,
And sort of jumping around here.
That's how my conversations always go. I jump around.
So you know, you act, of all the things that you do, which is like a billion things. What is the most challenging, and what has sort of been, like, do you get terrified by there's anything sort of like scare you still? Like, oh, I can't cuss on here, but oh no, I have to go.
Oh, shush. Let me see. I mean, I definitely get nervous before I start doing a film, like as an actor. Certain performances, I get nervous, and I love each thing I'm telling you I get nervous about. I really love. Doing speaking engagements when I'm about to speak to an audience. I get a little nervous, and playing in a celebrity basketball game. So.
Why would you be nervous about that? That's no pressure.
Because all my friends are watching. I got a lot of pressure to be a good basketball player because I'm from Chicago.
Right. Oh, okay. All right. The other thing is, I'm sure several people have brought this up to you, but okay, so if you do win this Emmy, inshallah,
Yes.
all you have
Inshallah.
left is the Tony, and you will actually have like run the gamut. Is that an EGOT? An
Yes.
EGOT, I'm
God
sure.
willing.
Will you? So I don't know. I don't even know what the question is on that, but I guess you'll have to just
Well-
get an EGOT T-shirt if you do the Tony.
Well-
After that.
Well, I will say to you that first and foremost, I'm supremely grateful for the awards that I do have, and yes, I would love to reach an Emmy and a Tony. I mean, to get that recognition as an artist, actor, and to be one of probably I think it's maybe 12 people that have them, 13 people that throughout
Wow.
time and entertainment. I know because I care. Some people be like, I don't care about that, but I do care. I mean, it doesn't like usurp my passion for what I do and like
Yeah.
but it is something that like, man, after we create stuff, we hope that people recognize it. Like and like when you have the Emmys saying, hey, this is incredible, that's a big stamp.
Yes.
That's a big stamp that's like, and it brings attention to some people who may not have paid attention to it. And you know, like when the higher purpose is there, that's what, like I said, it was no other thing I would want to be, you know, to win my first Academy Award than Glory. And this was like, if I would win an Emmy Award for Letter to the Free, that would be, I mean, this stuff is meaningful to life, so I feel like very grateful. But yes, I don't think I would wear a T-shirt, but I would definitely be calling everybody like, yo, I got it, the EGOT, bro. like yo, it's good.
Yeah. No, that would be awesome. Okay, so I stealthily picked up the iPad.
Yes.
We have some just questions that we like to ask everybody who sits here. You, Gordon Ramsay.
Okay.
So, what was the last show that you binge watched?
Chewing Gum.
Chewing Gum.
Chewing Gum is a British show on Netflix, written and starring this girl named Michaela Coel. I think a young African woman who's very talented. I love the show. You got to check it out.
Oh, I do. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not a binge watcher. Before that, I would have not been able to name anything.
Right. Oh, I have to check that out then. Okay. If you could go back and be on any classic show, what would it be? Now, can this be like music, or can it be TV, or let's just make it fluid. However
Okay.
you want to interpret show.
Yeah, I thought about TV, so I would probably go to a show called A Different World. I used to love A Different World, and it was a spinoff of the Cosby Show, and it had Denise Huxtable, who was played by Lisa Bonet, and of course I had a crush on Lisa Bonet. So, and you know, it was a lot of just incredible. Like that was the whole Black college experience. So I would want to be a guest on there, and they would have great guests from I think Jada Pinkett was on there before. You know, I think she had a character on there, and Tyra Banks, and it was just some good people on there.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I was just looking back when I was kind of researching to talk to you of all the people that you've worked with in just in hip hop alone, like Lauryn Hill, Nas, Q-Tip, Kanye. I mean, it is like everyone. Everyone. It's amazing when you look back and just like, and it's also you've kind of not worked in the same circle. Your circle's very wide. So I don't know, I just thought it was really cool. It's like if I had asked somebody this question about music, they would have been like, I wanted to work with Common, and you know.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, like, the artists that I've had the opportunities to work with and producers, I'm like, all of those artists are people that I look up to. Like whether it was Lauryn Hill, Erykah Badu, Kanye, Jay Dilla, you know, Prince. I've been able to work with Prince.
Wow.
So
Wow.
so it's those things where you're like, really, I made it to this point where I'm like, you know, sometimes you're looking across in the studio and you're like, wait, I'm in the studio with this person. Or honestly, like even acting, was just filming a movie. I'm filming a movie with Clive Owens and Rosamund Pike and Joe Kinnaman. And I was just looking at Clive Owens like, man, I love Clive Owens. I used to really like Children of Men and The Nick. I'm like, this dude is dope. Like, so anyway, some of the places that I've been and people I've worked with, man, I just feel like supremely grateful and hope to, you know, work with more.
Yeah. What's the film with Clive Owen? Can you?
It's called 3 Seconds.
Okay.
It's a project. It's a thriller directed by this Italian brother named Andrea De Stefano, and like I said, it's starring Joel Kinnaman and Rosamund Pike and Clive Owens and myself, and it's fun.
Oh, that's
it's a
cool.
lot of fun.
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's see. What's the most useless talent you have? You don't have to answer that.
The most useless talent.
I wouldn't have asked that, but I already got to the end of reading it, and then I was like, I gotta finish this sentence.
Yeah, you gotta finish
Sorry.
it. Trying to think what's useless. Well, I mean, I could break dance. Is that? I guess it's not. Back then, I used to use it for good things, but now nobody cares that I can break dance. So maybe that's my useless talent.
All right, all right.
But let me respect the culture of hip hop now. Let me say break dance is important, but nobody cares that I can break dance now.
I don't know. Now you're gonna get a flood of stuff on social
I
media.
know they're
going,
like, what
we
you
wanna
talking
see
about
you.
break dance? Nah.
We challenge you.
Yeah, I love the battle now.
And then, what was your first acting job? And do you remember what the first line of dialogue was?
Okay, my first acting job was on this TV show called Girlfriends, which was, it was Tracy Ellis Ross and a lot of other great actors a lot of good actors on there, and I was super nervous. I only had a few lines, and one of it started with a poem. It was like, I said, got me some Lynn last night, which I was mad because this girl that I was dating had started dating this other poet. So I was really hating on the poet.
Okay.
And my poem was basically trying to out her, like, or just air her out, basically expose her. So it was really kind of, I was nervous and I was a hater in the character, but I moved past that, and my first movie role was in Smoking Aces.
Oh, okay.
And that was, I think my first line in that, I don't know, my first line was some shooting, I was shooting somewhere in the film. I don't know if it was a line.
Maybe it was just a stance.
Yeah, it's a stance and a stare.
Let's see. I think I'm not going to ask some of these other ones.
Wow.
Because they're not great.
They bad?
No offense to whoever wrote these. I'm not sure where they are. Anyway, so we do have to wrap up, but I wanted to thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Lorraine.
I wish you the best of luck on Emmy night. I'll be rooting for you.
Thank you so much.
All
I
right,
appreciate
thank you
you
so much.
Yeah.
And if you want to see more, go to latimes.com. Thank you.